Ryan lived alone on a small space outpost at the edge of a quiet planet. His home was small, just one metal room with a bed, a table, and blinking lights on the wall. Outside, endless dark forests spread under a silent purple sky. He worked as a signal watcher. His job was simple: watch the sky, report anything strange. Nothing strange ever came, until one cold night. The night was dark and the wind was thin like a whisper. Ryan sat at his table, reading old messages from Earth. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the ground. The lights flickered. The table jumped. Ryan stood up quickly and ran to the window. Far away, deep in the forest, a red light glowed like fire. Then it faded. Smoke rose into the sky. Ryan grabbed his jacket and scanner. His heart beat fast. This place never had visitors. Not human, not alien, nothing. He stepped outside into the cold air. The ground was shaking gently, like something big had hit the planet. Ryan whispered to himself, "Please, don't be dangerous." He walked for hours through the black trees. Each step made a soft crack on the frozen ground. The only sound was his breath and the scanner's soft beep. The red smoke got closer and brighter. Finally, Ryan reached a small clearing, and he froze. In the center was a crashed pod, round, silver, broken open on one side. It was still glowing red and smoking. Sharp alien symbols shone on the surface. Ryan had never seen such symbols before. He stepped closer carefully, then he heard it. A soft sound, not a machine, not an animal. A tiny, shaking cry. Ryan's heart stopped for a moment. He followed the sound and looked inside the pod. There, curled in the broken metal, was a small creature. A child. Her skin was smooth and pale blue, glowing softly in the dark. Her eyes were huge and bright like stars. She had thin silver hair and small hands. She was shaking. Tears floated from her eyes. Like small, glowing drops. She made soft sounds, unknown words, broken, like music but also like fear. Ryan slowly reached his hand forward. She pulled back and hid her face. "It's okay," Ryan whispered. "I will not hurt you." The child looked at him for a long moment, then she touched his hand. Her fingers were cold like ice and soft like light. Ryan wrapped her in his jacket. She was very light, like holding a feather. He looked around. There were no footprints, no signs of anyone else, no rescue ships, no voices, nothing. She was alone. Ryan's scanner beeped. Radiation levels were dropping. The pod was dying. Ryan looked at the stars. No answers, no help. He whispered to himself, "She is lost or abandoned." He decided he could not leave her here. She would die. He lifted her into his arms and started walking back through the dark forest. The wind moved like whispers behind him. The trees seemed to watch. The child looked up at the sky as they moved. She said a soft word, "Lyra." Ryan frowned. "Lyra? Is that your name?" She blinked slowly. Her glowing eyes stayed on him. "Lyra," Ryan said again, smiling a little. "Okay, Lyra." Hours later, he reached his small metal home. The door slid open with a hiss. Warm light filled the room. Ryan placed Lyra on the bed and gave her a blanket. She curled up like a small bird. Her glow slowly faded as she slept. Ryan sat down beside her. He watched her tiny chest move up and down. He whispered, "What are you, little one?" He looked at the broken pod through the window far in the forest. It was still smoking in the distance. Something about it felt wrong, like it was not really broken, like it was waiting. Night came. The forest outside was black and silent. Ryan closed all doors and locked them. He sat at the table, thinking. He had found a lost alien child. If the Space Council knew, they would take her away. He did not trust them. They would test her, study her, maybe never let her be free. Ryan looked at the bed. Lyra was sleeping quietly, glowing softly in the dark. She looked peaceful, safe. He made a decision. "I will keep you safe," he whispered. "From everyone." Then, a sound outside. A low, distant hum. Very soft, like a voice under the ground. Ryan froze. He turned off the lights. He walked slowly to the window. In the forest far away, between the black trees, something moved. A dark shape, tall, slow, glowing eyes. Then it vanished. Ryan stepped back from the window. His heart hit his chest like thunder. He looked at Lyra sleeping. He whispered, "Someone is looking for you." Morning came slowly on the quiet planet. Soft orange light touched the metal walls of Ryan's small home. Inside, Ryan opened his tired eyes. The first thing he saw was her. The small alien child sat on the floor beside his bed. She was watching him, glowing softly like moonlight. Her big starry eyes did not blink. Ryan sat up slowly. "Good morning," he said. She tilted her head, confused. Then she copied him. "Good morning." Ryan smiled. Her voice was small and musical. It sounded like tiny bells. The days passed slowly, but they were no longer lonely. Ryan called her Lyra, the name she had whispered in the forest. At first, Lyra did not eat, drink, or sleep like a human. She only stared at the stars through the window. She hummed strange, soft songs. Sometimes small glowing lights floated around her when she sang. Ryan was careful and kind. He gave her warm blankets, soft toys, and gentle words. He taught her small human things. Cup, table, bed. She learned fast. Every day she spoke more words. Every night she curled beside him and listened to his heartbeat. For the first time in years, Ryan felt like he was not alone. Weeks turned into months. Lyra grew taller. Her glow became softer, more like sunlight than moonlight. She could run, laugh, and draw shapes on the metal floor using light from her fingertips. When she laughed, tiny sparks danced, in the air. Ryan laughed with her, though he often hid his tears. She felt like family, like home. One evening, they sat outside near the quiet forest. Ryan showed her old pictures on his data pad, small human children running and playing on green grass. Lyra touched the screen gently. "Are they like me?" she asked in soft words. Ryan shook his head. "No, you are different," he smiled. "But that is not bad." Lyra looked up at the purple sky. "I am happy here." Ryan looked at her glowing eyes. "Yes," he whispered. "Me too." But sometimes Lyra was silent. Sometimes she stood outside at night and stared at the stars for hours. Her eyes turned brighter when she did this, like she was listening to something far away. Ryan asked, "What are you looking for?" Lyra answered softly, "Dreams." Ryan laughed gently, but inside he felt cold. Dreams of what? Dreams of where? One night, Ryan woke to a strange sound, a soft humming. Lyra was standing at the window, glowing brighter than ever. Her eyes were full of silver light. She was whispering a name again and again, a name Ryan did not know. He walked to her carefully. "Lyra, what are you doing?" Lyra blinked and looked at him. Her glow faded, her voice was sleepy. "I saw her," she said. "Who?" Ryan asked. "The tall woman," Lyra whispered. "She called me. From the stars." Ryan froze. His heart stopped for 1 second. "A woman?" Lyra nodded slowly. "She was shining, like me." Then she fell asleep on his arm. The next morning, Ryan pretended to smile. He cooked breakfast, fixed the solar panels, checked the signal towers, like normal. But inside, his thoughts were storming. A tall woman, calling her, from the stars. Could it be her real mother? Was someone searching for her all this time? Ryan looked at Lyra playing with her glowing light balls near the table. She laughed when they spun in the air. She looked happy, safe. His heart hurt. He whispered to himself, "She is mine now. She is my daughter." Years passed. Ryan taught Lyra everything he knew. Words, numbers, stories, maps. She became clever and curious. She asked about space, about other planets, about where she came from. Ryan always smiled and said, "You came from the stars, but you are home now." Lyra would smile too, but her eyes always moved back to the sky. One cold evening, they were sitting on the roof, wrapped in thick blankets. The purple sky was full of slow-falling lights, meteors, bright and silent. Lyra pointed at them. "Do they know me?" she asked. Ryan frowned. "Who?" "The stars." Ryan smiled gently. Maybe they miss you." Lyra hugged his arm. "I don't want to go away," she said softly. Ryan looked at her glowing face. "You won't," he whispered. But deep inside, he was afraid. afraid that the stars might come, afraid they might take her away. That night, Ryan could not sleep. The house was quiet. The only sound was Lyra's soft breathing in her room. Ryan sat by the window and watched the sky. He thought about the crashed pod he had hidden deep in the forest. It was still there, buried under leaves and dirt, but sometimes, though, he thought it hummed. He closed his eyes. He wished for silence. Then, his signal screen blinked. A small light flashed. Beep, beep, beep. Ryan opened his eyes fast. A message from the deep sky. He walked slowly to the screen. Lines of unknown alien symbols danced on the display. Symbols he had seen once before, on Lyra's crashed pod. Ryan's hands shook. His heart turned cold. Someone was calling her. Someone had found her. The purple sky above the silent planet was calm, but not for long. Ryan sat at his signal desk, sipping cold coffee. The old machine buzzed softly. Its green screen showed empty space, no ships, no messages. He was tired. The last few nights he could not sleep. He kept thinking about the strange message, the one with the alien symbols. Symbols that looked exactly like the ones on Lyra's crashed pod, the me. Saj had no name, no source, no voice, only glowing lines and a strange sound, like a heartbeat made of metal. Ryan had deleted it, but it came back. Every night. Lyra was in the corner, drawing bright shapes in the air with her glowing fingers. She hummed a soft song while the light shapes floated like butterflies. Ryan watched her quietly. She looked happy, safe. But he knew something was changing. Her glow was stronger. Her eyes were brighter. And sometimes, she stopped in the middle of playing and just stared at the sky, silent, like she was listening to something he could not hear. That night, Ryan checked the signal tower outside. The air was cold and dry. The stars looked sharp and near. He climbed the metal ladder. The tower hummed softly as the wind moved it. He opened the screen panel. Lines of static ran across the display. Then, words. Unknown alien symbols, faster this time. Spinning, glowing. Ryan's heart hit his chest. Suddenly the screen spoke. Not human words. A strange echoing voice, high and low at the same time. It spoke one word again and again. Lyra, Lyra, Lyra. Ryan froze. He climbed down quickly and ran to his home. Lyra was standing at the door. She was glowing brighter than he had ever seen. Her hair floated like silver smoke. Her eyes were full of light. Did you hear that? Ryan asked, breathing fast. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. Who is it? He asked. Lyra's voice was soft. My people. Ryan shook his head. No, you don't know that. Lyra touched her chest. I can feel them. They are close. Ryan turned off the tower screen. He locked the doors. He wanted silence, but there was no silence. That night the ground hummed, very soft, like music under the soil. Cups on the table rattled. Lights blinked without reason. Lyra could not sleep. She stood at the window, her face full of silver light. She whispered strange shuong, words. Ryan did not know. Ryan stayed awake watching her. He felt like she was slipping away, like a dream fading in the morning. Days passed. The sky changed. Thin silver lines started moving across the night, like cracks of light. They moved fast, then stopped, then moved again. Ryan saw them first while checking the forest. They were high above the trees, bending like snakes. They looked alive. He pointed them out to Lyra. Her eyes filled with tears. They are paths, she said. Paths to where? Ryan asked. Home, she whispered. Soon, strange things began to happen to Lyra. She became weak when the silver lines appeared. Her glow flickered. Her voice became soft and broken. Ryan held her in his arms as she shivered. What's happening to you? He asked. They are calling, Lyra whispered. Her fingers shook. They want me back. Ryan's heart broke. No, you are safe here, with me. But Lyra just closed her eyes. Ryan searched his old data files, maps, and signal logs. He tried to block the messages. He tried to shield the house with metal plates. But every night the same voice came. Lyra, come home, come home. It echoed inside his mind even when the machines were silent. Even when he closed his ears. Even when he dreamed. One stormy night, the world changed. The sky above the forest exploded with silver light. The air shook like a giant heartbeat. Clouds spun like a whirlpool. A loud, low sound filled the air, deep like the ocean, sharp like a scream. Ryan ran outside. Lyra followed him, glowing so bright he could hardly see her face. They stood in the open field. The ground was shaking. The stars were gone. Only silver light filled the sky. Then, they saw it. Far beyond the forest, above the black mountains, a giant shadow moved in the clouds. It was not like a ship. It was bigger, older, silent. Its lights blinked like distant suns. Its shape was wide, like a floating city. It was watching. Ryan could not breathe. His hands shook. Lyra whispered, "She is here." Ryan turned. "She?" Lyra's glowing yes, filled with tears. "My mother." The shadow moved closer. The air turned colder. Every machine in Ryan's home went dark. The whole planet felt like it was holding its breath. Ryan grabbed Lyra's hand. "Inside," he said. But Lyra did not move. She stared at the sky, her face shining with both fear and love. "She found me," she whispered. Ryan pulled her inside, locked the doors, and shut every window. But the silver light still came through the cracks. The ground was still shaking. The shadow in the sky was still moving. Ryan held Lyra close. He could feel her heart beating fast. He could feel his own heart breaking. Outside, the voice came again. Not from a screen this time, from the air itself, soft and strong, a woman's voice. "Lyra." The world was quiet again, but not normal. 3 days had passed since the giant shadow appeared in the sky. The silver cracks of light were gone. The hum in the ground had stopped. But Ryan knew the silence was fake. It felt heavy, like the air was waiting, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Lyra stayed near the window all day. She did not laugh. She did not play. She just watched the sky with wide, glowing eyes. Ryan tried to cheer her up. He told stories. He cooked her favorite sweet rice cubes. He even made glowing paper stars to hang from the ceiling. But Lyra stayed silent. She spoke only once. "She is coming." Ryan wanted to ask who, but he already knew. That night, Ryan woke to a soft sound, not loud, just soft footsteps on the dirt outside. He stood quickly. The door light was blinking. Something was close. Ryan took his old plasma tool. He opened the door slowly. Cold air rushed in. The forest was dark, silent, empty. Then, she stepped out from the shadows. She was tall, taller than any human Ryan had seen. Her skin glowed soft white like moonlight. Her long silver hair floated around her like a smoke and water. Her eyes were bright silver, deep and endless. She wore smooth crystal armor that moved like living glass. Stars seemed to shine on her shoulders. Ryan could not move. His mouth was dry. He knew at once she was not human, and somehow he knew who she was. Lyra walked to the door slowly. Her glow rose higher with each step. Her eyes filled with light. She whispered, "Mother." The tall woman's face softened. Her eyes turned warm. "Lyra," she said, her voice like soft music. "My little star." Lyra ran to her. She lifted Lyra easily, holding her close. They glowed together, two stars hugging in the dark. Ryan felt like his heart broke and healed at the same time. They stood silently for a long moment. Then the woman looked at Ryan. "You are the one who found her," she said. Her voice was soft but powerful, like the wind in the mountains. Ryan swallowed hard. "Yes. My name is Seren," she said. "I am her mother." Ryan could not speak. He had imagined this moment many times, but it still felt unreal. "Where did you come from?" he asked finally. "From our world," Seren said. "We searched for her for many years. She was lost during the storm. We thought she was gone forever." Her voice shook a little as she held Lyra tighter. Ryan looked at Lyra. She was glowing brighter than ever, smiling with soft tears on her cheeks. She looked happy, but also confused. "She has grown," Seren said. "She is strong now. Thank you for keeping her alive." Ryan nodded slowly. "She is my daughter now." Seren's eyes turned sad. "She is my daughter too." They sat inside. The room was small for someone as tall as Seren. She folded her shining body quietly on the floor. Ryan made warm drinks. Saren did not drink. She just watched Lyra touching all her crystal armor like a curious child. Saren spoke. She belongs with her people. She must come home with me. Ryan's hands tightened around the cup. She is home, he said. Saren looked into his eyes. She is not safe here. Your world is not hers. Ryan shook his head. She is safe with me. I raised her. I love her. Lyra looked between them with wide eyes. Her small hands shook. I don't want to choose, she said. Ryan stood up. You don't have to. She can stay. Saren stood too. Her voice was calm but sharp. She is part of our world. If she stays here, she will slowly fade. Her body needs our sky, our light. Ryan's chest felt like stone. She will die if she leaves, he whispered. Saren's eyes were sad. She will die if she stays. The room was silent. The warm lights hummed softly. Lyra curled on the bed and covered her face. Her glow flickered. Ryan and Saren stood apart, not speaking. Ryan's hands were shaking. His heart screamed, but he could not let her go. She was his whole life. Saren's silver eyes watched him. She spoke softly. Tomorrow night, we will leave. Prepare her. Then she walked out of the door into the dark forest. Her glowing shape faded between the trees. Ryan sat alone. The room felt cold and empty. Lyra whispered from the bed, Dad, I'm scared. Ryan sat beside her. He held her small, glowing hand. I'm scared too, he said softly. Outside, the stars were silent. But Ryan knew they were watching, waiting. He looked at Lyra's bright eyes. He whispered, I won't lose you. But deep inside, he knew. She was already slipping away. The next day came with a quiet sky, no silver lines, no shaking ground. But Ryan felt heavy, like the air was made of stone. He did not sleep. He just watched Lyra while she slept softly in her glowing blanket. Soon, she might be gone. The thought cut through him like cold metal. Saren came in the morning. She glowed like the rising sun. Her silver hair moved in the air even when there was no wind. She walked inside without knocking. Her eyes were calm, but sad. Today, she said softly, Lyra must choose. Ryan stood by the table, his fists tight. She is a child, he said. She should. I'll not make this choice. Saren looked at him. She is not only a child, she is one of us. She will understand. Lyra woke and sat up slowly. Her glowing eyes blinked. She saw, both of them, Ryan on one side, Saren on the other. Her small hands trembled. Ryan smiled softly. Good morning, Star. Lyra looked down. I had dreams again, she whispered. Dreams of home. Ryan's smile broke. Saren knelt in front of her. That is your true memory, she said. Our world remembers you. Later, they went outside to the quiet open field. The purple sky was soft and clear. Tiny silver birds moved across the air like floating sparks. Serene raised her crystal hand. A glowing sphere appeared, spinning slowly. Inside it, pictures formed, floating oceans, tall silver forests, bright crystal towers under 3 suns. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. That is my world? Yes, Saren whispered. Your real home. Lyra stepped closer. The air around her glowed. She reached out to touch the picture, but her hand passed through the light. Ryan stood behind her. He opened his old datapad. He showed her small videos, her first steps, her first words, her first laugh, birthday candles glowing on the table. Remember this? Ryan said gently. You laughed until you cried. Lyra turned and smiled a little. Her voice was soft. Yes, I remember. For hours they sat there. Saren told her about alien songs, glowing gardens, and endless skies. Ryan told her about warm nights, quiet stories, and falling asleep on his shoulder. Lyra listened with wide eyes. Her heart was pulled in 2 directions, 2 homes, 2 parents, 2 lives. As the purple sun fell, Lyra stood between them. Her glow was trembling like a candle in wind. She looked at Saren, then Ryan. I don't know what to do, she said. Ryan's chest felt like stone. He knelt down to her height. Listen, Star. No matter what you choose, I will always love you. Saren placed her silver hand on Lyra's glowing hair. So will I, she said. Lyra closed her eyes. Tears floated from them like tiny stars. I don't want and to lose anyone, she whispered. That night, Ryan sat alone outside. The forest was dark. The stars were cold. Inside, Lyra was quiet in her bed. Seren stood near her like a silent guardian. Ryan stared at the sky. He felt empty. He felt afraid. If Lyra went with Seren, this home would be only walls and air again. If she stayed, would she fade and die like Seren said? His heart was breaking either way. Suddenly, soft footsteps came behind him. It was Lyra. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark. "Can't sleep?" Ryan asked. Lyra shook her head. She sat beside him and looked at the stars. "Dad," she whispered, "can I have both?" Ryan looked at her, confused. "Both?" "I want you," Lyra said, her voice shaking. "And I want her. I want two homes." Ryan's heart stopped. He wanted to say yes, but words did not come. He only placed his hand over hers. Lyra squeezed it gently. The door opened behind them. Seren stepped out. She had heard. "She wants both," Ryan said softly. Seren stood silent for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. "It is not our way," she said, "but maybe it can be." Ryan's eyes rose. "Are you saying—" "Maybe," Seren whispered. "I will stay." Ryan stared. Seren, staying? Here, on this quiet, lonely planet? Lyra's face lit with hope. Her glow grew brighter like sunrise. But then, the sky flashed silver. A deep voice filled the air. It was not Seren. It was not human. It was the alien council. "Seren," the voice said, echoing across the stars. "Return, the time is finished." Serene's eyes turned cold. She looked at the sky, then at Lyra. "I have only one day," she said. "Then they will come for me." Lyra's smile faded. Her glow flickered. Ryan stood up. "Then we will find a way," he said. His voice was quiet, but sharp, like fire. "We will not lose each other." Seren looked at him. For the first time, she smiled. A small, tired smile. Lyra stood between them, holding both their hands. Her eyes were wet but bright. "We will stay together," she whispered. "We have to." Above them, the silver stars watched, silent and waiting. Morning came with soft golden light. Ryan opened his eyes slowly. For the first time in many nights, he had slept. In the small house, everything was quiet, but different. Something new filled the air. Not fear, not sadness, something like fragile hope. Lyra was already awake. She floated gently in the air above her bed, spinning slowly like a small star. When she saw Ryan, she smiled and dropped down into his arms. "Morning, Dad," she said softly. Ryan hugged her close. "Morning, star." Then he saw Seren standing in the doorway. Her silver eyes were soft, but there was a shadow behind them. She had not slept. She had spent the night standing outside, looking at the stars. "Did they call you again?" Ryan asked quietly. "Not yet," Seren said, "but they will." They spent the morning trying to be normal. They made breakfast. Ryan cooked eggs while Lyra tried to help, but most of the eggs ended up floating around the room. Seren laughed quietly, her first real laugh here. For a little while, it felt like a family. A strange family, but real. After breakfast, Ryan brought out an old box. Inside were small pictures, paper drawings Lyra had made, and tiny toys. Lyra showed them to Seren proudly. "This is when Dad made me a paper spaceship," she said. "It broke in the rain, so we made another." Seren touched the broken paper ship. Her silver fingers trembled. "She is strong because of you," she said to Ryan softly, "and kind." They walked to the river near the forest. The water was clear and cold, moving like glass. Lyra danced on the rocks, glowing brighter in the sunlight. Ryan watched her and whispered, "She belongs here." Seren stood beside him. "She also belongs with my people," she said quietly. Ryan nodded. He knew. That truth was always between them, like a shadow. At night, they sat outside under the wide, dark sky. Ryan lit a small fire. Lyra curls, bed between them, sleepy and warm. For a while they said nothing. The stars moved slowly above. Finally, Seren spoke. "There may be a way," she said. Ryan looked at her. "A way for what?" "A way for us. To stay together," Seren whispered. "But it is dangerous." Ryan's heart jumped. "Tell me." Saren's silver eyes reflected the fire. If I cut my bond with the council, she said, they will no longer control me. But if I do, I can never return home. Ryan stared. That means you would stay here? Yes. And if they find out? They may come for me, Saren said. They may come for all of us. Ryan felt cold. The thought of alien ships coming down from the sky made his hands shake. But when he looked at Lyra, sleeping softly between them, his fear turned to fire. She is worth it, he said. Saren nodded slowly. Yes, she is. The next day, Saren began to change the house. She used her glowing crystals to grow small lights on the walls. She built a floating garden outside. Silver vines curled around the fence, shining like tiny stars at night. Lyra was filled with joy. She ran between the glowing flowers, laughing. This is our home, she shouted. Our home! Ryan watched from the porch. He smiled, but deep inside, he felt the ticking of time. The council would not wait forever. One night, the call came again. A deep voice filled the air, shaking the ground. Saren, it said, time is over. Return. The sky burned silver. The stars turned like eyes. Lyra screamed and held Ryan's arm. Saren stood still. Her silver glow turned sharp, like a blade. She raised her hand and shouted to the sky. No! The voice roared like thunder. Disobedience will not be forgiven. I do not care, Saren said. Her voice was calm, but filled with fire. She is my child. Ryan pulled Lyra close. The silver light from the sky burned and then faded away. Silence returned. Later, when Lyra was asleep, Ryan sat with Serene on the porch. The night was cold. The stars were silent again, but Ryan knew they were watching. They will come, he said. Yes, Saren said. Her voice was quiet. They will come. Ryan turned to her. Then we fight. Saren looked at him. Her silver eyes glimmered. You would fight the stars for her? I would burn them, Ryan said. Saren smiled slowly. Then she looked at Lyra through the window, sleeping in her glowing blanket. She is worth it, Saren whispered again. Ryan nodded. Yes, she is. Inside, Lyra dreamed. In her dream, she stood on two worlds at once. One world was silver and bright, one was green and warm. She held both in her hands, and they did not break. Her glow became brighter, like the rising sun. The night was too quiet, too still. Ryan could feel it in his bones, like the air was holding its breath. Lyra slept in her glowing blanket. Saren stood near the window, her silver eyes watching the dark horizon. They are coming, she whispered. Ryan came beside her. His heart was beating hard, heavy like drums. How many? Too many, Saren said softly. Ships of light, the council's hunters. Ryan looked at Lyra. She can't run. She won't leave. She should not have to, Saren said. Her voice trembled for the first time. She has a right to both of us. Ryan clenched his fists. Then we fight. Hours passed. The world stayed dark. Then the stars moved. At first, they looked like shooting stars, but they were coming closer. Bright silver ships cut through the night sky like knives of light. The ground shook. The air screamed. Lyra woke and ran to the window. Dad, what is that? Ryan picked her up. Stay with me. Don't let go. Saren stepped outside. Her body glowed brighter than ever. I will talk to them, she said. They won't listen, Ryan said. They will hear me. The ships landed in the field beyond the forest. The trees bent like paper. The sky cracked with light. Tall silver beings stepped out, shining like walking stars. Their voices boomed together like thunder. Saren, you disobeyed. Return or be erased. Lyra hid behind Ryan, shaking. Saren walked forward, her feet silent on the ground. She is my child, Saren said. Her voice was calm. She has two hearts. One is yours. One is his. The council's voices roared. She belongs to us. No, Saren said. She belongs to herself. The sky turned white. The air exploded with light. The council's power crashed down like a storm. Ryan ran forward, shielding Lyra with his body. The ground broke under his feet. Leave us alone, he shouted. The council ignored him. Silver beams of energy flew towards Saren. She raised her arms and blocked them, screaming as the light burned her skin. Ryan's heart stopped. She was breaking. Then, something changed. Lyra stepped forward. Her small hands glowed like suns. Her eyes burned with light. "Stop," she cried. Her voice echoed through the earth. "Stop hurting my family!" The sky froze. The silver ships paused in the air. The council's voices fell silent. Lyra floated into the air. A soft golden aura spread from her body, wrapping around Ryan and Seren. The beams of light shattered into dust. She looked at the council. Her voice was small, but unshaking. "I am both," she said. "I am your child, and I am his. I choose both." The earth stopped shaking. The ships hung still like frozen stars. No one moved. No one breathed. Then the council spoke again. But their voices were quieter now. "She has made her choice." Seren gasped. Ryan's eyes widened. "She may stay," the voices said slowly. "But the bond will be broken. She will not return to the silver world." "I don't want to," Lyra said. "Then it is done," the voices whispered. And just like that, the ships rose. They turned and flew into the black sky, fading like dying comets. Silence returned. Lyra dropped gently to the ground. Her glow was soft. Again. She smiled and ran to Ryan, jumping into his arms. "We did it," she said. Ryan held her tight. He could not speak. His eyes burned with tears. Seren stood beside them. Her silver glow was fading, changing. Her sharp light turned soft, like warm moonlight. "The council cut my bond," she said quietly. "I cannot return. I am one of you now." Ryan looked at her. "You're staying?" "Yes," Seren whispered. "If you will have me." Ryan smiled through tears. "Welcome home." Days passed. The forest healed. The stars watched from far away, silent now. Ryan fixed the broken roof. Seren grew new glowing flowers around the house. Lyra danced between them, her laughter ringing through the trees. Sometimes at night, all three of them sat on the porch. They watched the stars together, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as a family. Lyra would sit in the middle, holding both their hands. "I'm glad I didn't choose just one," she always said. Ryan would smile, Seren would nod, and the stars far above would shine quietly, like they finally understood.